Body bags were horror lies.
Yo, what's up everybody? Welcome to week 43 here on Body Bags. I'm your host Moodz616, and thank you once again for stopping in. Alrighty guys, yeah, it's week 43, and this week's theme is little creatures or little monsters. I was picked by JP, so yeah, little creatures. There's quite a few films out there. I decided to go with this one for one reason, because the sequel is actually part of my 88 series on my channel, and it may come up randomly during the season, or during the series, so I decided to do this one just for that reason alone. And from 1985, I believe this film was filmed in 1984, but came out theatrically in 1985, and that is the original Ghoulies film. Of course, produced by Charles Band under his Empire Pictures studio back in the day, so... But yeah, getting into the plot of this one. This one starts out with a black magic kind of ceremony that's going on at the beginning of the film, involving a little baby and stuff. The scene is quite short. It just basically kind of ends abruptly. To make things short, it doesn't go as planned for the headmaster, and so then it jumps into the main story, which takes place 25 years later. Which is involving Jonathan, who was actually the little baby in the beginning of the film. He's all grown up now, and what has happened is his father has passed away, and he was, the master in the beginning of the film. His father has passed away and left him this huge-ass mansion. So him and his wife move into this mansion, and shortly after, they throw a party for all their friends and whatnot, and they're trying to figure out what to do in the night and stuff like that, and they decide that, it's actually kind of decided for him, because this book that's laying on this table just kind of opens up to this black magic kind of satanic page, and he performs like this black magic ritual and stuff like that. But what he doesn't know is that he's conjuring up certain things and stuff like that. But then, right after that happens, he starts becoming obsessed with becoming this headmaster and conjuring up these ghoulies and these other things and stuff, and he doesn't really quite understand why he is becoming so obsessed with what he's trying to accomplish, and and then so he ends up conjuring up these ghoulies, these little creatures, and he conjures up these little dwarf type things that he can only see at times in the film, which is quite interesting too. And so that's basically the premise of the film right there, without giving too much more away. Now my thoughts on this one. First off, as a child, I was never overly that excited about this movie. I remember watching this way back in the day and being, confused as hell for one thing, because the story is very convoluted, for a young child, because this movie's rated PG-13 for starters, so it's demographically pointed at, younger kids and stuff. I can see a lot of kids being confused by the story in this, because it's not straightforward. You go through the entire film without fully knowing exactly what his intentions are, and then in the last 10-15 minutes, everything comes together and you figure out exactly what or why he was doing what he was doing. But up until that point, I can see where kids would totally lose interest in this film for a couple different reasons. Like I said, the story is very convoluted, and there's not a lot of action in this one. Really, the Ghoulies kind of make their first appearance about a half an hour into the film. They don't really start doing any killing until, 45-50 minutes in the film. This movie only runs about 80 minutes. There's not really a lot of Ghoulies involved in the film. With that said, this movie isn't about little creatures and Ghoulies. This movie is actually about your main character, Jonathan, who is played by Peter Lipus. it's about him and what he's trying to accomplish, and his character and trying to become that master and stuff. With Ghoulies kind of mixed, kind of thrown in there. So the title's a little misleading. It's not, straight, about Ghoulies. With Jonathan's character, I think that Peter Lipis does an interesting job with the character. His acting is completely over the top in the film, but I think it does work, though. Actually, I think some of the acting in the film it's very kind of generic 80s type acting and stuff, which is what you'd expect from a very low budget film. But his acting, it's almost funny at times, but like in a good way, though. I like his performance. I think he does a good job, just kind of being not possessed, but just kind of being, he does a good job with the character is what I'm trying to say. As for the effects in the film, the Ghoulies look pretty cool, actually. It was one thing I always liked about this movie. I thought the Ghoulies looked very cool. They're most definitely mostly done by, puppeteering and stuff like that, which isn't a problem. I think that they do a pretty good job with them. There's this one really bizarre scene with this girl and this really huge elongated tongue where she ends up killing this guy with it. That scene is fucking hilarious. Very reminiscent of the tongue scene in Dream Warriors, actually. Reminds me of the Freddy film, that very typical looking type rubber tongue. But overall it's not bad. There's not too many kills in this one at all. The Ghoulies do a little bit and stuff, but like I said, it's rated PG-13, so it's not overly gory or anything. But I believe this movie was heavily cut, though. You can tell the way this thing's edited. There's a scene where, actually the coolest scene in the film, which always stuck in my mind, is with this, basically what it is like one of the Ghoulies is in this clown suit, and the clown kind of rips out, or the Ghoulie rips out of the head of this clown, and right before he's ready to kill the girl, she screams and it just cuts. I don't know if they actually filmed her getting killed, because they show her later and her throat's like all torn out and stuff like that, but I believe that this movie was just heavily edited to get that PG-13 for the theatrical release, so I don't know, maybe there is a vault cut of it somewhere, but you can tell with those kind of jump cuts and stuff like that it's just, at times, but I really do like the setting of the film in this big ass house. It does kind of feel like it's a huge house and stuff. It's got pretty decent atmosphere at times too. The black magic rituals in the film are fucking hilarious. Just the overacting by Jonathan, like I said, is so funny to watch, and it's kind of appealing. But overall the movie, it doesn't have a lot of substance to it. Like I said, the story's convoluted and it's very slowly paced, without a lot of ghoulie action. It's kind of forgettable. Ghoulies 2 is a way better film, in my opinion. But, if you like Ghoulies and you've never seen Ghoulies, maybe give it a shot. I think it's a pretty average film, but don't be blown away because, like I said, I think the pacing in this one really does hurt it, though. Really does hurt it, so... I think that's pretty much all I want to say about Ghoulies. If I had to rate this one, I'm probably just going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's pretty average. I think, like I said, Ghoulies 2 is a much better film. Ghoulies 2 just has a better pace to it. I think Ghoulies just definitely suffered from cuts and, I don't know, it's just terrible pacing. But yeah, I think that's it for the Ghoulies. So, yeah, if you want to check out Ghoulies 2, I loosely recommend it, man. I've never really been the biggest fan. I've watched it a few times since I was a child, and I've never really fully been able to get into the original Ghoulies film. So, anyways, guys, that's going to do it for week 43. We will be back next week with another theme week, and it should be an interesting theme week next one. I'm really curious to see what the reviewers do for this theme week that's coming up, so I won't spoil it once again. But anyways, guys, I'll check you next week. Peace out.